You're listening to the Curator Salon podcast. I'm your host, Gita Joshi. And in this episode, I'm going to be talking about preparing yourself online and your digital presence ahead of approaching galleries for representation. Your online presence, particularly your website, really is the place that people will learn more about you. It's that place you can get way more visible than if you only had your work available to buy through the studio, for example. So, your online presence is a really key part of your wider brand. And the first thing we're going to look at is your website. So on the website, if you are thinking about gallery representation anytime soon, I want you to first look at the artwork and have you organized it in collections? Have you got the images sized so that they can be seen on the screen without people having to scroll down to see the bottom of the painting, for example? And this part of the website might be called gallery, it might be called portfolio, it might be called available artwork, whatever it is. It doesn't matter especially, but it should be clear. And then usually artists will organize it by collection, which I quite like, rather than having a mishmash of all the different things that you do. So showing that you actually work in collections and presenting it on the website in collections is really helpful. And it just shows that slightly more elevated professional presentation for it there as well. Now, traditionally, a collection might be presented as an idea. So let's say you were painting interiors, then one collection might be the bedroom interiors and another collection might be, views from the window or something like that, of that, from that interior. So, organizing the collections by the idea behind it is usually the typical way that people will do it. However, you can do it by scale. So some people will do large paintings and then it will be small paintings, or it might be paintings under 500 or something like that. It can be paintings and prints. So, whichever way organizing collections makes sense to you and the work that you make would be, fine. Take a, educated opinion on this, or you can invite somebody in to have a look over it for you as well. And that might be another artist, or if you're inside an artist membership or a community, then you might ask somebody within that space that can actually help you take a look over how you've organized it. There's no absolute one way. It really is dependent on what you're making and how you work. Another way that some artists do it is through date. So they might have their works from 2019 on one page and then the work from 2020 on another page. And so you could do it that way as well. If you have a lot of artwork from the past, you could just collect, and you're not actually actively presenting that work, then you can just have past collections or an archive or something like that, and just call that page archive or previous collections, and put all those images there, and then really just have the dominant collections as the ones that you're working on now and the ones you want people to really be interested in, right? The ones you're showing off, maybe you're talking about them on social media, and these are the ones that you're going to be proposing to galleries, exhibitions, publications, or any other place that you're reaching out for coverage. So that's number one, organizing your work by collections in a very understandable and reasonably intuitive way. The next thing is to get testimonials from people that have bought your art in the past. So people always like to know what happy customers have said before. And as an artist, you can also do this. You can reach out to people that have bought your artwork in the past and ask them to share a few words or a couple of sentences about what they enjoy about the art, or even the buying experience. So maybe they came to your studio and they're going to say, how much they enjoyed meeting you and how happy they are with the artwork that now graces their walls at home. So that is a positive kind of testimonial that you would want to be having on the website. And on the website itself, it can be placed around, the available artwork for sale. If that is the sort of page that you have, what previous customers have said, or what my patrons say, or something like that. Or you could have its own page and tab that is called testimonials. Sometimes people will also place this rather than having a testimonials tab on its own, they might have it on the About page. And you're reaching out for testimonials. Honestly, this is like half an hour of work. It might sound intimidating if you've never done it before, but usually people are very happy. And you can also ask your past clients if they want to have their name shared on there, or you can say that you'll write it up as anonymous, or maybe just have the initials for the person or something like that. So that doesn't take a lot of work on your part. So you can just draft up an email. Like I said, it's literally half hour or less of work, and then just getting those moved onto the website as soon as you get them. Testimonials are a really important part of your business. Oftentimes if you were going to go and buy something yourself, you might realize, or you might not even realize, that you've actually read through what happy customers have said, and it just provides that social proof that everybody is looking for before they make purchases. So this is not just preparing yourself for your gallery proposals, it's actually helping other people that come to your website maybe to buy your artwork that you're promoting on social media. It also gives them that additional comfort and confidence in actually buying from you. Moving on to the About page. Now, sometimes people will have this split out as bio and statement. It really doesn't matter as long as it is there. Here you want to just go through the actual biography. Is that all up to date? Could it do with a refresh? Is this still current? Is this still your core messaging? All that sort of thing, and adding in any new experience or exhibitions and publications and podcasts and whatever that you've been featured on. So if you are somebody that has a whole list of places that you've participated, then you just really want to make sure that that is up to date. I see this all the time. Like, artists will be on social media, they're talking about an exhibition, but then it's not actually reflected on the website. So just making sure your website is up to date with the things that you've done in recent times since you last logged in to update this page is really important. And it just makes everything up to date as well. And again, with your statement, same thing, is the messaging there, still pertinent to what you're making? Does it need embellishing? Does it need tweaking? And just giving that look over. And again, it might be something that you want to invite more eyes on. So if you're inside, like I said, a membership or an artist community, you could ask somebody that you trust within that space to come and actually look over it for you. Or, if you're working with a coach, then certainly that might be something you ask them to review for you and review with you. Around the bio, particularly where you're talking about your experience, another thing that can be helpful is to have some visuals. So if you've been in exhibitions recently or you've been featured in publications, then illustrating this page with maybe an installation view of the exhibition, or an open pages of your feature inside a publication or something like that, can also add more, not credibility necessarily, but just another way of consuming the information that you've laid out there. So it's not just a very dry page that's a list of things. So you can also think about this as well. And that's really going to be dependent on the sort of template and the rest of the style of the website that you have. So illustrating it could also be something to consider. And if you are somebody that has a blog or news area on your website, or news and updates, sometimes artists call it, then making sure that all those recent exhibitions and places that you've appeared, maybe you've been on a podcast, then all of that is also reflected on your news and updates and that kind of area on your website there as well. So those would be the fundamental areas that I would have you look at, making sure that it is a nice and easy experience, that it is intuitive to navigate, making sure that you're using a template that is contemporary and fresh. If you are somebody that hasn't really looked at their website or updated it for 3, 4, 5 years, you've probably realized unconsciously that website styles kind of change and evolve. And you'll know if yours is looking fresh and contemporary and modern compared to something that looks like even if it was 5 years old, it might look like it's 15 years old. Especially those ones that have dark dark background colours. That was a thing of many, many years past, and honestly just looks like somebody's abandoned it, even if they are still updating it with the most recent news. So, white, bright, light colours and backgrounds is really important to help your artwork kind of stand out there as well. If you've got work on available work, or maybe you have an online shop, then adding in supplemental images to each of the products. So the product is essentially the item that is for sale, so that will be a single artwork at a time. You can also embellish these pages with in situ images, and this just gives that better experience. Like I've said before, it's a bit like going to an apparel website where you're looking at a dress, but then you also see pictures of that dress being worn by a model, and that's essentially what you're doing when you use these in situ images as well, to help your customer understand what that artwork would look like in scale in the context of a room, right? A dining room, a living room, a bedroom, whatever it is. So just giving that additional kind of supplemental visual aid, I suppose, for people to understand your work can also be really helpful. And if you want to use that, there are various websites, and there are lots of apps as well. I prefer to do it on the desktop. With artplacer.com, you can use the code Gita Joshi, it's a single word, for a 30% discount if that is something you wanted to do as well. So these are the key areas that I would have you update and really pay attention to, get somebody else's eyes on it, just so you can sense check that it's all making sense and it's easy and intuitive to navigate before you actually go out there and approach galleries. Because with galleries, and also as you're promoting yourself on social media, if that's the way you're doing it, people want to have a good experience, right? We do go through to artists' websites and have a look, and it can be a letdown, and you're really doing yourself a disservice, right? This is why you might not be getting conversions, or you might be getting people that arrive on your website and they're literally staying around for 2, 3, 4 seconds before they bounce off the page, because they're just simply not having a good experience. Excuse me as I lose my voice a bit, but just making that really easy for people. And that might even be things like the pop-up box for, subscribe to my mailing list. Maybe it comes up too soon, right? We've barely arrived and you're asking me for something. Well, I haven't spent enough time on this website to see if I want to actually subscribe to your mailing list. So it might be things like adjusting the delay before that pop-up box arrives, for example. So make sure you've got all of these areas addressed. Again, these things don't necessarily take time, but you want to have a think about it. And, one way of doing it is just to think, okay, go page by page. Does this page make sense? Is it conveying what I want it to say? Have I written about the artwork, or have I literally just got dimensions and price? Is that helpful? Does it help people read the work? And is it giving a good sense of what you want to convey, right? Your authority, your credibility, your experience. Is all of that coming across on every single page? All right, so that is setting yourself up on your website, and then your social media. So let's assume that you're using Instagram. When you are reaching out to galleries, one of the most obvious places that they're going to go to is probably your Instagram page. If your Instagram is only Reels, that might not be supporting you as much as you think. We know that Reels get good reach, and they get good engagement. However, they don't necessarily convert into more sort of deeper connections, I suppose. And for this, you really want to mix up Reels with carousels. So carousels are those posts where you slide through and you can see up to 10 different images. Thinking about, like, pick one artwork, and then, can you have another image within that carousel as a close-up or a detail of one of, let's say it's a painting. Can you show one of your in situ images, mock-ups of this artwork? And so, this way you can get multiple images of that same artwork, and your caption also needs to actually be a caption. So this is something I see a lot, and it literally tells me that this person isn't confident about their art when literally they just put in a bunch of hashtags and then that's it, and they post it. So use the caption area. It's there. It's a way for you to actually share more about the artwork that we're looking at. It's a way for you to share your experience, your credibility, all these things that help people engage with the maker and the artist behind the artwork, because that is both what a gallery is really looking at, right? Can we do business with this person? It's not just the artwork itself. Have they got something to say? If you were going to work and sell through a gallery, you might be invited to do an artist talk or have interviews, whether it's for their website or their PR team pitching you. So you having something to say is really important, and this is something that you can convey through your social presence. By actually, writing about it. And then there's also voiceovers. So the visual could be an artwork, and then the voiceover is you talking about it. And I would like to see more artists doing this, because this really helps the audience understand what they're looking at, what motivated the artist to do what they did, and all these sorts of things as well. And then we also get a sense of that personality behind it, which is also something that really helps build rapport with your direct customers, but also anybody you want to go into business with, like a gallery or a consultant or any other party. So if gallery representation is on your list, and then you're thinking, right, okay, well, now you need to upgrade your social presence, just commit to doing that for the next few posts. I mean, it doesn't have to be hard work. If you know what you're about and you believe in the work that you're making, it really shouldn't be too difficult to actually create content around it. And social media posting is really micro content, right? You can talk about your techniques, you can talk about your motivation, you can talk about a day in the studio, and somewhere on my website there's also social media prompts that you can go and use as well if you're just moving into this level of kind of talking about your work as well. But we have all of this inside Gallery Ready, which is my online program for artists who are ready to start working with galleries. And I'm going to put a link to the program inside the show notes, and you can hit me up in the DMs on Instagram if you've got any questions about it.